in music right now. I'm singer-songwriter Nina Blue.
And I am Joseph Benitez, aka Jay Xander.
All right, let's start with the news of the week, of which there is a lot. This one is a little bit more fun. Cardi B's microphone that she threw and hit a person with the face with was auctioned off for $100,000. This is after the concert goer threw a drink on the rapper at a Las Vegas show, and it just kind of proves like F around with Cardi and you will find out.
That's a lot of money for that microphone. Shoot, maybe.
I
What if people start like throwing things at celebrities on purpose now, so that they can get their hands on a $100,000 microphone? That's
That's what I
crazy.
was worried
Oh
about.
God.
I support Cardi defending herself. That person filed a lawsuit. I think they got the book thrown at them by the judge in addition to that microphone hitting them in the face.
Oh good.
Um I'm sorry, if you're going to start something, Cardi B will finish it. But no, I am worried that more people will this will incentivize people like throwing things at celebrities, which is it's becoming a huge issue.
It really is. Hmm.
Spotify posted a whole thing about like a I don't know, like let's come together and these are the unofficial rules of engaging with artists. And it was like, wow, we really have to say these things.
Oh my God. For a second, I thought you were gonna say Spotify just posted a playlist of all the artists that have been assaulted during their own concerts. I was
If
like,
they haven't made it, we need to.
that seems like it's in poor taste. But okay, go off, Spotify, I guess.
If that has not happened, we need to make it.
Oh
I'm sorry
gosh.
to Kelsey Ballerini. She's going to be on it. Like, that is too funny. Okay, moving on. So, Travis Scott dropped a new album this week, and it is all over the Billboard Hot 100. And he has become the first rapper to lead the Artist 100. It is an all-star lineup on this album. It's a really long album too, but it has Beyonce, SZA, The Weeknd, Drake, Future, 21 Savage, Bad Bunny, and more. There are so many people on this album. Jay,
Damn.
did you get a chance to listen to it yet?
I haven't yet. How long is it?
I think it's 17 tracks. The track with SZA is 5 minutes long, and there is no trace of SZA until like the last 2 minutes, I think. And I
Oh
was like,
wow.
you have such a good vocalist. Have her do ad libs in the first 3 minutes. So I know to expect her. I was really kind of annoyed. I was like, where is SZA? Give me SZA.
17 tracks. That's a lot. I feel like you could set the Bible to music and it wouldn't be that long. Sheesh.
And the fact that some tracks are like 5 minutes long
Yeah,
in today's streaming
that's
era,
unusual. Mm.
in today, the age of Spotify, that it is really unusual. I'm also just a proponent of like shorter albums are better unless you have a really good reason for it to be that long.
Yeah.
Which I popped around the album. I listened to a few of like the bigger hits. The Weekend, I lost count of how many songs he's on. Like at one point I was just looking for songs that the Weekend wasn't on. The Beyonce
Wow.
song is really the most interesting one to me, so I would check that out. It is a solid album, despite it being like really long. However, I am Houston born and bred, as is Travis Scott. And I was watching the news the other night, and he announced a tour, and Houstonians are a little nervous about that, considering the incident that led to 10 deaths and 25 hospitalizations at the infamous Astroworld. Ooh, so let's hope that doesn't happen again. Let's hope we've moved on from this. I sent this to you on Instagram this week and we had a really good laugh about it. But Steph Curry got on stage with Paramore for Misery Business.
Mm, yes. Let's leave the business of misery to Haley and them, please. I think.
I thought it was hilarious. It was giving
Mm,
like cool dad energy, which I think Steph Curry has in
very
droves.
much so. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I have mixed feelings about that song. I know it has stood the test of time. It's really had this kind of renaissance since Olivia Rodrigo's album. And what was the song? It was Good for
Good
You.
for you.
That was
Yeah.
compared. Yeah. I didn't think they were close enough to get the writing credit. Did you?
No,
No.
absolutely not.
I'll stand by that. But I remember like that song bothered me as like a 15-year-old. Like that song has turned it's so good though. Like it's so catchy.
Well, Yeah, I I'm happy you brought that up because I've always thought that about this song. It could never come out today and
No,
have the kind of success that it had when it came out because really we're in like the heat of it is the year of the Barbie movie. You can't be doing
it
this
is the year
women
of the
against
Barbie
woman
movie.
bullshit. Come on. Like that just cannot exist in the year of our Lord and Savior Margot Robbie. It's not possible.
No,
No
absolutely
way.
not. But like I remember in the 2000s, I was deeply entrenched in like a mix of cool girl pick me culture versus like purity culture, which is kind of where this song exists. And I remember listening to it and being bothered by it. Like the lyrics are just so harsh. And at no point does she establish like that this other girl really did anything wrong to deserve this vitriol.
No. By the
It's
way,
it's bothered me for a long time.
I feel like what you just described is just the I'm not like other girls genre, honestly.
It very much was. I mean, if you look back on the amount of misogyny that was in like 2000s rock, like it's I mean, and
Oh,
today, but it's
it
terrible.
was yeah, it was 10 times worse back then, for
I've
sure.
actually started listening to it as a villain song. Like it's from the villain's perspective. I'm not calling Haley Williams a villain. I really like her. So anybody who is a big Paramore fan, that's not what I'm saying. But you know how like in Disney movies the villains always have the best song, like Be Prepared or what's the Ursula one
Poor
from
unfortunate
Little
soul.
Mermaid?
Poor
Poor
unfortunate
Unfortunate
soul.
Souls. There's just something more fun about writing a villain song, and so I've started thinking of it that way, and it's kind of cleared my conscience a little bit in this the year of the Barbie movie when I really want to sing along to that good hook.
That's so funny. I imagine her like belting her face off during it while like the other main character, so to speak, is just like walking down the hall just nonchalantly. She's like, I didn't even want that guy, but good luck.
Good for you.
Yeah. Ah, there you go. Now we've come full circle. Yes.
Guys, I think we have a jukebox musical
That's
in the works.
amazing.
Quick, call Olivia Rodrigo. She can star in it too.
Yeah.
Moving on to another female singer songwriter, Taylor Swift gives over $55 million in bonuses to the people working on the Eras tour. The tour made billions. So I think this is just like 3 to 5% of the gross profit. And people have come up with the term Swiftonomics to coin the financial to like designate the financial bump that cities have been given when the Eras tour comes into town because it just like parks
Damn.
there for a weekend. I mean, I don't think I I don't think I've ever seen this level of success from any kind of songwriter. Like I don't even like is Taylor Swift bigger than the Beatles?
Financially speaking, well, you also would have to count for like inflation and stuff, but
Mm,
probably at this point. Um, yeah. Hear that, Bob
I
Iger?
think
Hear that? If Taylor can do it, so can you. If A24 if A24 can do it, so can you.
so can you. God, right? But
Asshole.
I thought that spoke very highly of her. She's had really bad press in like forever since she came about. And while I think a lot of it has been really unfair, I'm kind of loving this turn toward Taylor. I think we all kind of picked the wrong sides on things. She's proven us wrong, and I am enjoying it.
Well, I
So
don't
some
necessarily think it's that she's also grown a lot as a person and
she
songwriter,
has,
I think
yeah.
too. So you also have to keep in mind like where she started to where she is now. Like the stuff she was writing back then is very tailored for a very specific audience of like 13-year-old girls, where now I feel like it's a little bit more accessible to adults, but still maintaining that younger audience too.
I think so. I listened to someone like speak about Taylor Swift, and she was saying we've never had someone document like growing up in songwriting as a young woman in today's
Yeah.
world, the way that we've had Taylor Swift. And if you think of her eras in that way, it's very profound.
Yeah.
Because I'm not a huge fan of like the first three albums. I think I really became a big fan around Red. But I mean, as I was listening to Speak Now, I was thinking about this woman and what she said about Taylor Swift, and I thought, that's an incredibly poignant and interesting analysis.
For sure.
Moving on, Lizzo has denied, flat out denied, all allegations against her. The stories coming out are getting wilder and wilder. She's accused of fostering a hostile work environment and sexual harassment, but the suit also claims religious and racial harassment against her dance captain. There's false imprisonment allegations, interference with prospective economic advantage, and other allegations. Of course, the media, in true fat phobic nonsense, is focusing on like the body shaming part of this, which is really the smallest part of the suit. But, you know, people have also come out in favor of Lizzo, but more and more people are coming out. The people who are the lawyers who are defending these three dancers, they say that six more people have come forward. I'm taking a backseat on this. As a matter of fact, I think this might be the last time that we talk about this on the podcast until like a ruling comes down.
Yeah.
What do you think?
I mean, you never know, but I mean, what I'm like mostly fascinated about by this case is just how quickly people turned on her, even if it is true. Nothing's been set in stone yet, so it's a little like you said. It feels like it's a kind of fat phobic kind of thing that's going on, especially since I saw that clip that is unfortunately kind of funny of Azealia Banks when she was like shaming her for a while, and
Oh yeah.
she said, "I see you, fat fucking Lizzo. I see what the fuck you trying to do. You stole cupcake swag, bitch." Which is just
That was so funny.
insane. I don't agree with what she was saying, but her cadence and delivery is very funny. I hate that about
And
Azealia.
God, it's so annoying how like there's so many people that I just dislike on principle, and then I remember
I
how
know.
objectively funny they are, and it makes me so mad.
Yeah.
Um,
It's like when
yeah.
Donald Trump made that joke about Ron DeSantis needing a personality transplant. It's like, oh,
Oh man, when he
I-
calls him Meatball Ron, the man does look like a meatball. Like, I'm
yeah,
sorry. I can't unsee
I
it
know.
now.
I'm like,
Did you
oh,
hear about the
I hate
pudding
that that's
fingers
funny.
thing?
No,
I
what?
hate that it's funny.
I know.
Oh, apparently Ron DeSantis is infamous for eating pudding with his like three fingers on a private flight instead of
What?
just like using a spoon. This is alleged. This is totally alleged. And so I think Donald Trump for a while was going to start calling him Pudding Fingers Ron, but Meatball Ron is just so much more fun. But yeah, the guy's funny. I hate it. It's so annoying.
Mm,
But it is funny. All right, so we're gonna reserve judgment on Lizzo. We really hope that justice is served in this case, but like a lot of people have taken sides almost immediately, and I'm like, we don't even have a court date, y'all.
the amount of times I've heard that she's bald. She's bald and she's torturing people with hair sound this week alone is ridiculous.
Oh my
Don't get me
god,
wrong, those memes are funny as hell, but that's wild.
it is. It's okay. The memes, we're here for the memes. We're
Yeah.
enjoying them, but also like we're just gonna see what happens. We have a few deaths this week. As a matter of fact, just today, as we're recording, Robbie Robertson, leader of the band, has passed away at 80. He's a very well respected songwriter, and as well as DJ Casper, I think it's Casper, who made the hit song "The Cha Cha Slide," passed away at 58. You and I spoke about this for a minute before we started recording. We couldn't quite remember what the Cha Cha Slide was. It's the one that's like to the left. Take it back now, y'all. One hop this time. That I think I heard it like every school dance.
Y'all, I always thought that song and the Cupid Shuffle were the same exact song. Like I
They
get them
basically
confused
are.
all the time, but I mean, either way, both of them are really great, like party songs. So, I mean, it's really sad about him passing away, but in a way, it's like
He was
he'll
only
always,
58
yeah,
and he gave us so much.
yeah. Well, he'll always be remembered.
Yes, at least. You know, I might
Yeah.
shed a tear for him next time I'm at a wedding.
You crying while
Finally,
you're so you're gonna cry while you're
I do
doing
hear your dad. What about
Wow. Nina is
No, but
going to shed she is going to shed tears. She's gonna
look,
fucking weep while she's cha-chaing real smooth, y'all.
I'm in my emo girl era right now.
Wow.
Moving on to Beyonce, she has honored a fan who was allegedly stabbed to death while voguing to her music. I'd say allegedly because we don't know if it was because he was voguing to her music, but we know that he was stabbed to death like while it was being played. The singer paid tribute to 28-year-old O'Shea Sibley on her website with a message that reads, "Rest in power, O'Shea Sibley. It's now being investigated as a hate crime, and we want to voice support to the Black gay community as well as to Sibley's family and loved ones in the face of this horrible tragedy." And I think Beyonce did such a wonderful thing here. I don't
Yeah.
know, like, I hope this would mean a lot to O'Shea, truly.
Yeah. It's very unfortunate.
We've had the Black gay community give us so many wonderful, beautiful trends. They basically like launched Renaissance for Beyonce on TikTok with what was the dance trend? What was it too?
I don't remember, honestly. We'd
Was
have
it
to
Cuff
look it
It?
up. It might be Cuff It, but there's also that one other song that's America Has a Problem was like another big one.
Mm, that's right. All I can say is, in addition to the website, I hope that Beyonce curses him.
Yeah,
There's
for
been a
sure.
lot of talk about Beyonce curses on the internet lately, with all of these other women getting canceled, saying Beyonce did this on purpose.
I don't know about that, but I kind of hope it's true. That'd be awesome if she was a witch,
You know what, that adds so much to the lore. Like, I would really enjoy that.
for sure.
Yeah. All right, looking at the current top 10, we have Dance the Night by Dua Lipa finally entering the top 10 at number 10 this week.
It's about
Last
time.
night, and it is about time.
Yeah,
We were happy to see that. I wish it had happened during our Barbie episode, but
I
alas,
know.
here we are. Last night and Fast Car climbed back up to number one and number two, respectively, as Aldean's controversial song called all the way to 21, I believe. Travis Scott entered the Hot 100 with two songs from his new album, which I just talked about. The album is all over the Hot 100. And I think we've never seen that before, but in the age of streaming, it's becoming more and more prevalent. I mean, we've seen Taylor Swift do it. SZA was ruling the Hot 100 for a while, I think in December. Do you think like
Yes.
this is just more accessible because of Spotify, or do you think it's fan culture?
Honestly, both. Just because it's like, of course, when your favorite drops an album, particularly because it's like these are artists that haven't dropped anything in a minute. Like people had been
Mm-hmm.
waiting for that SZA album, for the Taylor album, for this album, their respective fan bases for years at this point. Years. So like, of course, when it drops, they're gonna want to stream it like ASAP. You want to hear like, okay, what are they doing now? What's up? And Spotify just making it so accessible and having it at the touch of a button just kind of adds to that.
We should start saying Spotify and Apple Music. I mean, we're obviously prejudiced like towards Spotify. The editorial
That's
playlists
true.
are just better. I'm sorry, Apple. Hire
Yeah,
me.
sort of.
We'll compete. Give me a job, Apple. Okay, so Meltdown, which is at number three, Travis Scott featuring Drake. I was really impressed with Drake's rhymes in it. Um, but I'm really surprised to see that this like lo-fi rap is continuing to be so prevalent when we've seen so much tilt toward like 90s sampling and things like that, especially things that get into the top 10 and hang out there for a while. What do you think? Do you think this is like Travis Scott's fan base, or do you think lo-fi is here to stay?
No, I think it's more of his fan base.
Yeah.
I'd have to listen to the song because, like I said, I just haven't had a chance to yet. But
Mm-hmm.
overall, with like Travis Scott, the thing about him is just like this very psychedelic, very unique kind of sonic signature that he has going on for him, and that's kind of what people want. But this just hearing your description of it, that feels like more of an outside layer just compared to everything else we've seen on the chart so far, just this year alone, looking at it.
Yeah, it does feel a little bit like an outlier. I like Meltdown because it has this really cool like turnaround. It has like a kind of like an upfront section and like a B section.
Oh,
So it just like
cool.
changes vibes in the middle in like a really cool way.
Hmm.
Fiend, which is FE exclamation point N, I think is actually a better song though, and it's just more fun to listen to. Like the hook, the way that he says it, it's it's catchy. Um, Moving on. This week, we have decided to primarily highlight gay and trans artists. It has been a big year for the queers, and we want to celebrate a lot of the beautiful music that has been given to us by the gay community. Jay, you wanted to talk about Holy Fuck.
Yes. So,
Yes,
this is a very interesting sonic take for Demi that uses. I know they went to back to she for a little bit. I'm just gonna try to be respectful and use them because that seems like they were kind of maybe pressured into she. I'm not really sure, but anyway,
that's what I heard. Yeah.
yeah. But anyway, listening to this particular album, I really, really love this direction for Demi. Mostly because I find that their particular vocal style and approach is a lot more fitting for rock and it's a lot more unique. I found just this is just a personal opinion that for like the pop vocalists, what's really trending right now is voices that are kind of just non-distinguishable. They don't have like a lot of character to them. It's just something that could be played in like the background and it's mostly for like the purposes of a vibe. I kind of
I
think
think you're
that
right. I think it's that or like a pseudo Billie Eilish
yeah,
impression.
it's just kind of like what is the least kind of distracting sound that can exist on top of this beat that we've already produced, which is kind of scary when you think about it with all the AI stuff coming up nowadays.
Terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah, but anyway, the reason why I think that this particular turn really worked for Demi is because in rock music, you can get away with like a way more piercing kind of signature sound, which they absolutely have. And I'm just gonna talk
Yes.
a little bit about some of like my favorite tracks off of it, including "Skin of My Teeth," which for me it really calls back to the Courtney Love or whole song "Celebrity Skin," excuse me, and it just has this vibe, just both sonically and about it kind of being about how being in the spotlight just kind of tears you down sometimes, which of course chronicles Demi's journey through all of that quite well, I think. And I really like the bridge of this song. Demi almost has like a Lady Gaga-ish delivery in it, with the way that the vocals processed. And just these lyrics of I'm just trying to keep my head above water. I'm your son and I'm your daughter. I'm your mother. I'm your father. I'm just the product of the problem. I really like that because now it takes the problem or what this song is talking about, it shifts it from just talking about Demi to everyone kind of,
Yeah.
succumbing to a little bit of pressure under the spotlight. So I think that's a very smart move on their part for sure.
They're such an incredible writer, such an incredible singer too. And I mean, when I think of that quote, oh God, I'm going way back, but in like Audrey Hepburn has this quote of there are certain shades of limelight that can wreck a girl's complexion. And when I think of
Mm,
that, I think of the way that like Demi Lovato has been treated. Or sorry, they have been through so much. And I remember when they came out as non-binary and they were talking about like, I just wanted to feel human. That was so relatable to me. Like that
yeah.
was when that really struck home for me. I was so happy that they had this success with this album. And you're right, rock fits their voice so well.
Yeah. I would say even
You have to have attitude to sing rock. You have
yeah.
to.
Yeah, I would say even better than some of the pop stuff. It just more so fits, I think.
That we
Um
need a little more diversity in rock, you know?
yeah.
We need something more than just like old white guys selling out stadiums
Yeah, for sure.
or
Um
guys trying to recreate Lincoln Park again and again and again.
yeah. Well, Linkin Park's still surprisingly doing pretty well up there. They were number
Dude,
one
I
like a
love
couple
Linkin
months
Park,
ago.
but there's only ever going to be one, right? Like,
Very true.
there's only
Yeah,
one.
for sure. Um, but moving on to the next song, is 29, which was a big thing on TikTok for a while because it, of course, is
Huge.
chronicling Demi's relationship with Wilmer Valderrama. Fez is a menace, apparently, because he's just, I mean, Demi's not the only one to say this about him. And it just, it's kind of adding up at this point. I think the song, honestly, for me, I think I'm more of a fan of like metaphors and concepts. And I think that this one is just kind of explicitly telling you what's going on. Part of me
I feel that way
wishes,
too, yeah.
yeah, part of me wishes she went like the so the song that I kind of want to compare it to is Jar of Hearts by Christina Perry because that song really like stands the test of time where it's like talking about a very universal thing that still means something to Christina Perry. But anyway, that's just like a nitpicky thing. I still like the song. I think Demi's delivery on it is really, really great. She has like really belty highs, or they have like really belty highs, and then they switch to very like more sensitive moments in there too, which is very impressive. Not every vocalist can pull that kind of thing off.
No, when I think of Demi, I think of like they are dynamic, like
Yeah,
so, like their voice and they're capable of like that really high and that low. I think that's also a really good way to sing the song because you are talking about like this huge difference in emotion and this huge difference in age.
yeah,
And so having those peaks and having those softer moments is really kind of like telling to the whole narrative.
yeah.
That's just prosody for me.
That's very true.
But I didn't know this about Wilmer Valderrama. Apparently that 70s show had some creeps on it
Oh yeah.
after what happened with Danny Masterson too. So shout out to uh, Ashton and Mila. Hopefully, like they're doing great. I'm rooting for them, but her more than anyone.
It's funny
Um,
how that works, where like the biggest stars are like the ones that have the least drama, it seems like.
I mean, I guess they just didn't mess around and they kept after that bag. But
Yeah.
I think Wilmer was supposed to be Zorro before this came out. There
Oh,
was going to
I
be like
don't.
a Zorro reboot. I think it was going to be animated. I'm not sure, but it was with Disney, and
Oh,
that might have been canceled because of her coming out with these allegations and multiple others coming out with these allegations.
yeah. Well, it wasn't
Yeah,
even really. I mean, they said it on the Ryan Seacrest show, like about the kind of age difference going on, and I mean
yeah,
that was
no, they
like,
totally did. They came out and talked about it.
yeah, and I mean that was just probably like the tip of the iceberg as far as
They
just
were
like
on
what they
red
went through.
carpets, and we were all okay with it.
Yeah.
But Demi's doing a really good job of introducing this issue to young people because I think it's something super prevalent. Like when I was 16, I
Yeah.
dated a 20-year-old, and that's 100% not okay. Um, and I don't think you can. I know you and I are big fans of like metaphor and like having building a song on a metaphor and doing something really clever with it. But I don't think a metaphor is the right way to talk about this. Like it's too prevalent of an issue. I'm so glad that they came out and they talked about this. And you're right, it does have a lot of like Jar of Hearts comparison.
Yeah,
I
I don't know
feel it.
why it just like reminded me a lot of that song. Um, yeah, it's just like I don't like that is what I'm a bigger fan of, but I don't know how I would have written this particular song any other way.
No, I think
Yeah,
it's one of those like exceptions to the rule, right? Like
I think
we
so.
love metaphors, but like this time, yeah, call the asshole out. Say it.
Yeah.
Just say the damn thing. So I wanted to talk about turning to another like powerhouse singer. This is Kylie Minogue. Padam Padam was named the Song of Pride this year. And what's funny to me is
Nice.
like if you're not a musician or you're not gay, if you're just a regular old American like going through your life, you might not even know who Kylie Minogue is. Do you find that like do you feel like she's been kind of the gay community's best kept secret in the United States for a while?
Um, sort of, but I myself barely know that much about her. In all honesty, like the only thing I really know is that she's kind of Australia's equivalent to Madonna, just in
Yeah.
terms of like longevity with her career. But I don't know like her discography that well myself. I know maybe like Speakerphone, but that song's from like the 80s. So
Yeah. I think she did Locomotion. I need
yes.
to look it up again.
Hmm.
So she's Australian singer-songwriter. She's been active for God, like the better part of 30 years. And for her to have such success in the United States was incredible with Put On, which is such a fun hook. You and I were laughing about it one night. It
Yeah.
is, it's hooky and it's not like a real word that you hear often. For those of you who have not heard this song, Padam is the sound that your heart makes that tells you that we want to go home. And I thought it was really fun. It led to a lot of hilarious parodies. And it was just a great, happy trend to have during Pride. And I loved it. What did you think?
I love it too. And this concept of just like setting your hook to the sound of like your heartbeat, it just very much is very Selena coded. Beady beady bum bum. So I wonder,
Bitty bitty bum
yeah,
bum.
I'm like wondering if that, I don't know, if that's kind of what resonated with people on the dance floor because it does have that feel where it just like is very kind of internal and kind of easy to just like groove to because it's such a simple little hook, but I mean, that's kind of proof that a lot of the times that's all you really need, especially in the era of TikTok.
Yeah, true. I did hear some critique that it was too mid to be the song of Pride, but I kind of loved it. Like when I
That's
first heard it, I
fine.
did think it was a little too mid. But then I heard it on a dance floor and I could still dance to it. And I was like, you know what? It still
Yeah,
works.
this
It's
is
still working.
one. Yeah, this is one where like you kind of have to listen to it on the dance floor to get the full effect, I think.
I think so. I think it's also better after several vodka sodas. Moving on to another great moment this year, absolutely historic, is talking about Unholy.
Yes. So, Unholy by Sam Smith and Kim Petras was very much a moment in time that just I wish we could come back to like weird songs like that being on the top because it was very much like an exception, I think, to the rule when
Oh
it came
yeah.
out. But it's also like a very smart song that still fits neatly into what the other songs in Billboard are doing. And I think that's hard to do. It's hard to follow the trends but still have your own identity. But I think this song does that really well with the structure. It actually this is again, it comes right in on the chorus. So we don't waste any time with that. And then when we get to Sam Smith's part of the song, they have a very distinct hook to everything that they're singing there. Then of course we go back to the chorus section, but when we get to Kim Petras, she does her own thing with the melody that's different than what Sam did with their verse. And I think that's how features should be approached personally.
Yes,
You
I was
know,
just about to say, like,
yeah, these two
both of these
sections go ahead.
artists, like, it's so in their brand. Like,
Yes.
Sam is so doing what we want to listen to Sam do, which are these sustained notes, even though there's like this really interesting beat in the background. And then Kim just goes for it.
Right. It's very even the like melodic structure is very on brand for both of them.
Hmm.
And it makes a lot of sense. And also just the type of sounds that are used here just fit really well with the theme also. So that goes back to what we were talking about last week with the concept of prosody, which is just making sure that everything kind of fits together. So this is a scary song, so they're using very aggressive kind of synths and those like weird choir noises that sound like they come out of the Danny Elfman soundtrack from uh Nightmare what is that movie
I
called?
think
Nightmare
I think that
Before
was just
Christmas?
Sam Smith like singing.
Yeah.
I think they just distorted their voice.
I think
Yeah.
that's what it was too, but that's just like the vibe that it was giving me.
They're also really kind of known for choral. I mean, if you go back and you listen to like Sam Smith one, lots of people were like, "Where did you get that gospel chorus?" And they were like, "Oh, I recorded that."
Oh,
That's
really?
me. Yes.
That's
Yeah, I
me.
remember watching watching a like interview with them, and the
Ah,
interviewer was asking, "Oh, did you hire a choir for this?" They were like, "No, I just sang over myself," which I mean, it can be done. We both know that, but it's so interesting the way that these brands crash together. And aren't the drums like available online for free, the program?
I think so, but I don't remember what it's called, honestly.
It's a really accessible song.
Yeah,
It's super odd though, in that I believe it's Phrygian mode.
correct.
Yeah,
Yeah. Do you want to
which
let the
you
audience at
never
home?
hear.
Yeah. Do you want to let the audience at home know what that means in case they don't?
Okay, for those of you who are not deep in the theory, there are seven modes, right?
Hmm.
There are seven modes. They're just different types of scales, essentially. It's hard to explain modal interchange without like really going in depth on it. But is it built on E?
Hmm.
Yeah, it's built on E. It's just a different pattern. Essentially, there are two main patterns of scales, major and minor, which might be more familiar. Phrygian is minor, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes.
It's a type of minor mode. It's really weird. I can think of gin and juice
Ha.
is in Phrygian.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Y-
it's super rare. The modes that you'll hear most often are B major scale, and that's and then you have the minor scale, and then you'll have every once in a while Mixolydian and Dorian. You never hear Phrygian. This was just,
Yeah.
I mean, this was ear candy.
Yeah. So the Phrygian mode is very much prevalent in like the Middle East and even like some flamenco music. So white people, just kidding, just like Americans will use it all the time in like soundtracks whenever a character goes to like a vaguely remote land. So it's really weird to hear it like in a pop song. Normally nowadays you kind of only hear it in like some kind of metal music, but even then that's very
Yeah,
niche.
it is very niche. I would have expected, like, if I wanted to go for a weird mode, especially talking about like speaking of chorals, I probably would have gone for like Dorian, because that's what the Gregorian chant is kind of based off of. Um,
Mm,
for those of you, and the best Dorian song of all time is Jolene, and I will fight somebody on that.
well,
But
but
and so it was just interesting how this was done. It made me wonder if it was like accidental.
yeah, probably it could have been. I will say with like Dorian, it's more of like a sad but like mystical, dreamy girl kind of feel. Phrygian has
Hmm.
like a little bit of a sex appeal to it, so I kind of appreciate them using that one. So it's like exotic and a little bit sexy sounding. So I think
It is.
even that fits very well, like prosthetically.
It is. That was such a huge moment. I remember I was watching the Grammys, and I did,
That's right.
speaking of me being in my emo girl era, I did tear up when they came on and they were performing as Grammy Award winners,
Yeah,
as the first trans and non-binary Grammy Award winners, which was huge to me. And I think it was huge for representation for everyone.
yeah, it's a very cool moment. Um,
I love
oh
how Madonna presented it, and she really basically just said, "You can applaud now,"
yeah,
when she was done. Do you remember that?
yeah, vaguely.
God, that was so good. So moving on to another, like to an album that I don't think has gotten enough play. Have you yet listened to Age of Pleasure by Janelle Monáe?
I'm ashamed, but I haven't.
Oh my gosh, this is such a weekend vibe. It
Yeah.
came out, I think, May. It might have come out like either during or right before Pride. And I am I'm upset at myself that I didn't listen to it until like last week. I'm
Mm,
upset that more people aren't playing it. And we were talking about how Miley is glowing. Janelle puts her to shame. They look so good. They killed their Met Gala look, and all of the videos and promotional material associated with her new album is so aggressively body positive. I'm just obsessed with it. Like, she's glowing. She looks great.
she doesn't age either. Like she's looked the
Wow.
same like for the past 10 years now. I think she's a witch. Maybe.
Oh, maybe. Or just has a really good skincare routine. I need it.
Yeah.
So the songwriting at first seems really simple, but it's brilliant in kind of its like adherence to some basic principles while also having lines that made me pause and rewind. They were so good. Like she was singing, "They think I'm supreme. They say I look better than David Bowie in a moon age dream." And I thought, this is just brilliant. David Bowie, who's also someone who's very wildly famous for being androgynous. Janelle Monáe has had several interviews where she's talked about like her pronouns are they, them, she, her, and she's made a few of the jokes about like, I think she said something like badass motherfucker,
Oh yeah,
which I love and appreciate.
yeah. My pronouns are that bitch.
That bitch.
I don't think she
Have you
said
seen that
that.
TikTok sound that's trending of my pronouns are USA?
USA. Yeah, I have. It's like
I was like,
I think the caption is like anytime a British person or like the person from another country comes for us. That's the only time
that
we're
is how I
patriotic.
feel. It's the only time that I'm really proud to be American is when another
Hmm.
like when somebody else from another country tries to say unless it's like somebody that we've done wrong. Mostly Europeans. I'm like, wait a minute, hang
Yeah.
on. You came up with colonization. We perfected it.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so back to Janelle. I feel like I could teach our entire master's degree program with this album alone. Like it was so
Really?
interesting the way that they used hooks, the way that
Mm.
they like really used structure and then also played with it at the same time.
Mm.
Um, I think they're more of a top liner. I think the production was made and then lyrics were written like to melody kind of thing. For those of you who don't know what top lining is, it's when you're given a track and it has no vocal part and you have to design like melody and lyric to go on top of it, essentially. That's what just kind of the vibe that I got was that she would vamp and then come up with something. Her song, Hot, is great because it shows that a hook can be anything and sometimes a hook can just be your attitude. The way that she sings hot, I'm hot. It's funny every time and it keeps bringing me back into the song.
Yeah. Speaking of, there's a moment in Speed Drive where Charlie XCX, I think she does the same thing. She's just like, "Ha," in the
Hot.
chorus, and I'm like, that sounds so good. I don't
It's
know
so
why.
good.
Everything about that song. Anyway, let me not get off
It's
on a tangent.
oh my god, going back to it. Oh,
Yeah.
she's hanging on. She's on the Hot 100 and I want her to do better.
Good.
But
I know.
um so Janelle, if you're listening, which I know you probably are because you're a number one fan, I am begging you to make Champagne Shit a single. It is the catchiest song on the album. It is so funny. It's got great, beautiful melodies in it. Jay, I need you to listen to it and get back to me. Like
Okay.
Champagne Shit. There are a few curse words that I don't think will play on radio. That
Mm.
they might need to just cover, like write a line over. I don't think it's going to be like that difficult, but the melodic rhythms in this just it's just brilliant from start to finish. It's been called Afrofuturistic. It's got elements all over the place from like kind of almost Latin elements to bossa nova. Like she almost goes all over the world in like a really mellow way. It's such a great summer album, especially with this horrible heat that we have been having here in Texas, where I don't want to be by the pool partying. I don't want to go out dancing. You know what I want to do? I want to pour a little sparkling water with some lime juice in a glass and I want to lay down and not do anything. And this is a great album for that. It's a great album for a backyard barbecue too. I mean, depending on who's coming, because there are some curse words in it that some people might not be okay with. But it's great from start to finish. I'm so happy for them. It's a triumph, and honestly, the gay community needs to come together to stream the ever living hell out of it.
Cool.
Champagne shit, make it a single, please, please. Speaking of non-binary voices, Jay, how did your training go with trans and non-binary voices?
Uh, very well. Thank you for asking, Nina. So what Nina's referring to is, so I'm a voice teacher, and I have a couple certifications in teaching, and one of the ones that I just received and a training I went through was working with trans and non-binary voices in order to kind of understand the differences between them. And I thought it would be really cool to bring up here because what's really fascinating about the human voice to me is the fact that even though everyone everywhere has a different voice, the instrument for everyone is the same. Meaning that
Yes.
if I want to sing in head register or chest register or somewhere in the middle, it's exactly the same as my larynx is moving in exactly the same way it would as Nina or any of the people that we talked about today. So, Sam Smith, Demi, and another amazing singer, which kind of brings us to our playback picks of the week that I want to talk about, which is Iniko, who is very big on TikTok right now and just released the video for their single Jericho, which is such a cool song. It's very from the beginning that song already has like a really strong hook, and this is a really great example of just branding overall. The way that they structured these lyrics and everything, referring themselves as new AI and talking about how they're tapped into the unknown is just so good. So yeah, definitely check out Jericho and all of Iniko's other content if you don't know who they are, because they manage to kind of tie their personal identity into everything that they're doing and releasing out so well. It's honestly, I think it's a master class in branding.
That is so interesting to me, especially like, I mean, we're kind of in an age where we get to see these androgynous, non-binary artists, and you still have to brand, like you're still so yourself outside of these restrictions. And the way that you've spoken about them, like I'm so excited to check out their content.
Yeah, they're cool.
So I'm gonna give a shout out. I had a different playback pick planned, but I'm gonna give a shout out to another non-binary artist who is also a Berkeley alum. I actually, what is the non-binary of alum? I'm just gonna say alum. I feel like that's good.
Is
It's
it different?
Karuk. So they went viral featuring their girlfriend, Olivia Barton, their partner, and with the song If I Were a Fish.
Oh, yes, yes, yes.
If I Were a Fish is one of the cutest, happiest, sweetest songs I've ever heard. I want to punch literally every person in the face who has sent them hateful comments. Dude, I was on LinkedIn and Berkeley posted about them and their success with this viral song. And some guy like posted a whole paragraph about like how this person is destroying America by being a human being and writing a song. I don't
I
even know.
know. It's so
Um, it
stupid.
was really upsetting, but I don't think that they're bothered by all of this. I think they're going on a tour. They're gonna have some more music coming out. It is the cutest and sweetest, happiest song. One of the best things I saw was like a dad teaching his little girl this song on guitar because she was so excited. And
Oh,
that meant the world to me because we need more kids playing guitar out there, which makes me happy that the instrument's kind of making a comeback after everyone was just trying to get a laptop and make beats with a keyboard. I'm glad to see some acoustic songs coming back and hanging out on the Hot 100 as well.
very cool.
But good for Karuk and Olivia. I hope y'all are together forever. I want to be invited to the wedding, so let me know. Let me know. Anyway, I think that sums up our playback picks of the week, Jay.
Yep.
So this was a fun discussion about gay and trans and non-binary artists. If you guys want to follow us, please check out our various socials. And yeah, I think we're going to start posting to Spotify next week.
It's coming soon. So we'll give you something nice to drive to or work out, whatever you want to do while you're listening to us. Um, but hopefully it
Side
brightens
note, I
up your
used to
day.
think that people who worked out to podcasts were sociopaths, and now I am one of them. It just
Really?
depends on the workout. It depends on the workout.
Yeah. I do it all the
If I'm
time, honestly.
really,
Yeah, because it just calms me down. Like when I hear actual music, ironically, it kind of distracts my tempo a little bit. So I'm like, I'd rather just hear somebody like talking in the background.
yeah, if I'm running, I want to listen to music. But like if I'm
Yeah.
going real
Okay.
slow with the weights and I'm trying to focus on my own tempo, you're
Yeah.
right. It is so much better. So listen to us while you work out in the car, hanging out, and
Cool.
we'll see you all next week. Go out and create some good in the world. Bye, y'all.
Bye.